Greetings, real estate fans. This is Deb Dawkins of Coldwell Banker Realty here with you today with an episode of Roadside Botany. Those of you who know me well know that before I sold dirt by the acre, I sold it by the pot at the Family Garden Center and Nursery. The Eastern Shore has many vines, native and imported. Even the discerning observer may mistake one for another. This is a specimen of Toxicodendron radicans, poison ivy. Its berries are enjoyed by wild birds, but humans can develop a nasty rash just by touching the leaves. Hence the adage, leaves of 3, let it be. The second part of that horticultural rhyme, leaves of 5, let it thrive, applies to this decorative native, Parthenocissus quinquefolia, Virginia creeper. While touching it is safe, eating it can be very harmful. Just as Virginia creeper and poison ivy can be confused for one another, and they often grow together, which further complicates the situation. In real estate, seller's agents and buyer's agents may occupy the same territory, but they serve 2 different functions. Maryland has long required the disclosure whom real estate agents represent to be presented to members of the public who have not yet hired an agent. Agents themselves are sent back to school every couple of years for a refresher course. If you follow the financial news, you may have heard of a group of lawsuits concerning commission sharing. In short, it seems, the sellers did not feel that they had to pay compensation to the buyer's agents. Never mind the reality that listing agents have long agreed with their friendly competitors to share the compensation to anyone who brings the buyer. This past weekend, the terms of these national lawsuit settlements became part of real estate practice nationwide. But Maryland was already implementing many of these requirements. Several years ago, Maryland tightened the agency rules, requiring that any agent assisting a consumer in a transaction had to be contractually obligated and representing either the buyer or the seller. New regulations also allowed the seller to negotiate the commission and any sharing of that commission at the time of the listing contract. Some of these regulations will now be more rigorously enforced. The buyers must be prepared to sign at least a short-term agency agreement with the agent that they have contacted to show them a home. No representation, no home tour. As the home buyer making the largest purchase of your life, will you be comfortable with doing it by yourself? The wide distribution of listing information has led buyers to think they can find their new home themselves, and that's mostly true. But the bulk of real agency work occurs in educating the buyer, preparing and negotiating the contract, and once the property is under contract, keeping the transaction moving in favor of the buyer. Under all is the land, and on its wise utilization and widely allocated ownership depend the survival and growth of free institutions and of our civilization.